Back with Field Yates' mock draft 1.0 special. Here's how things look so far. 11 picks in with the Broncos on the clock. Field, who do you have there going to Denver?
The national champion winning quarterback J.J. McCarthy from the University of Michigan, coming out of his third season in college. And Kevin, this is going to be one that sparks some debate as well. J.J. McCarthy has terrific ball placement. He is a very mobile quarterback. He has played in a system that I think some believe could translate to the NFL level. The sample size is just a whole lot smaller, right? The amount of responsibility that he shouldered, no pun intended, this year was different than that of the quarterbacks who we have already discussed, and one that we haven't yet that he played in the national championship game in Michael Penix Jr. from the University of Washington. That being said, the Denver Broncos this upcoming offseason are going to probably move on from Russell Wilson. They have very minimal resources to replace Russell Wilson because the free agent class is not stacked. Cap space, extremely tight. As a matter of fact, right now, they're in the negative for cap space going into next year, and they have 6 total draft picks this year. The next one after this 12th overall selection, not until the 3rd round. So sometimes you got to spend with what you have as opposed to spending exactly how you'd like to in a perfect circumstance.
It feels like, too, when you look at the tape, it's hard. It's hard to evaluate a guy like this here, Jordan, especially a guy with – don't put on the Penn State tape because you're not going to see a lot of passes.
The handoffs, yeah. He's a great handoff.
What do you think about McCarthy going 12th here to Denver?
Well, Field, I just want to say I love this pick. And it makes so much sense to me just because – a couple of months ago, we were talking about, is J.J. McCarthy going to be a first-round pick? But as we get closer to the combine and even coming out of the combine, I think we're going to start to see him inch up even closer inside of that top 10. That would not surprise me at all. But what do NFL coaches love, and what we have seen with coaches in years past is that they love the thrill of the unknown. And that's what I'm going to call J.J. McCarthy. Yes. He's the thrill of the unknown right now. And you can just imagine Sean Payton sitting in the film room watching these clips of J.J. McCarthy winning in big moments, a 76% off of play action, and then just having so much success of winning in the biggest moments. I think he's going to be a big fan of J.J. McCarthy. And he's also, in the 28 career games that he's played, he's only had 25-plus passing attempts in 12 of those. Right. Being in that heavy Michigan run attack, I think Sean Payton is going to be able to groom him in the system and eventually turn him into what he wants him to become in the future.
Yeah, there's no two ways about this either, Jordan, is that this next tier of quarterbacks, which I think a lot of us believe is made up of 3 men, it's going to be dictated in part by how the next 2.5 months play out, how these individual interviews go during the combine or during these private workouts or even these visits to team facilities. That's going to influence a lot how each team stacks up these 3 players. My guess, if you were to pull all 32 teams, you might get 12 that like J.J. the most, 10 that like Bo Nix the most, and 10 that like Michael Penix Jr. It's that close of a margin.
I'm fascinated with Jordan saying specifically here that Sean Payton can shape him, right, as a guy that, hey, let's get the good habits in because you didn't have a lot of bad habits because you didn't throw the ball enough in that system at Michigan. All right, let's stay in the AFC West because the Broncos pick at 12 right behind them. There's their first selection since removing the interim tag for their new head coach, Antonio Pierce. Who you got?
Yeah, you love when the need meets up with the value of your board. That's Byron Murphy II from Texas, a defensive tackle with 5 sacks this past season, a pocket disruptor, terrific against the run as well. And you have a full-time defensive head coach now, right, in Antonio Pierce. You want to get him something that he wants to fill the biggest need, which was certainly a problem this past year for the Vegas Raiders. Byron Murphy lives in the weight room as well. This guy is powerful. He's disruptive. Had a terrific 2023 season. Upside, baby, Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle from Oklahoma, a right tackle, kind of has 1 full year as a starter, as Oklahoma had 2 draft picks at offensive tackle just a year ago. 6'7", 330 pounds, looks like he's 285. This guy was a former H-back at TCU, Kevin. Wow. A fantastic athlete. I got to be honest with you, I'm starting to wonder more and more by the day if this guy even makes it out of the top 10 picks. That's how much potential Tyler Guyton brings to the table. Terry Arnold, cornerback from Alabama, had an incredible season this past year. What is he? A ball disruptor, and he's physical. Plays with an edge. He had 5 interceptions this past season. He broke up 12 other passes as well. He's an elite route runner for the defensive players, right? He knows exactly what he's doing. Route recognition is the term that I am looking for. Physical, played for Nick Saban. That always helps when you're talking about defensive backs. And Brock Bowers, only 2-time Mackey Award winner in the history of the award from the University of Georgia. Came back from an ankle injury this season and still was terrific on the back end of it. The best tight end in this class by a country mile. Unbelievable after the catch. 5 rushes. The guy can do it all as a playmaker in space. Incredible route runner as well. And Mr. Reliable as it pertains to his
hands are unbelievable. Most interesting right now when we talk about it is how you guys are projecting the draft position for Bowers. Because you guys both agree he has a ton of talent, especially in the top 10 when it comes to prospects. This is about fit because Mel has Bowers mocked going number 5 to the Chargers. Field has him 16th to Seattle, so keep that in mind. What do you think of Field having Bowers going 16th? And it feels like it's late. Cannot wait to hear what you have to say.
What does he have to say?
Kev, through the first 15 picks, I was impressed. I thought fielding was exceeding expectations. I'm sitting here, boy, man, not much to really yell about, scream about. But the time has come where that's over. Now he's like a rookie. He's acting like a rookie. He's playing like a rookie. Time to be called out. You got a guy here, 7th on my board, dropping to 16, right? Here's a guy who is phenomenal catching the football. He's a matchup nightmare. He's a guy, I don't see any world where he's down this low in the draft coming off the board mid-first round. Field. This guy can do it all. Yes, he had the tightrope surgery of the ankle. He came back from that. He was spectacular as a freshman. Nobody could match up against this guy. 2 national titles. He wasn't healthy this year. McConkey wasn't healthy. They didn't get to that playoff. But the bottom line is he is a fear factor player. He's a don't just say it's a tight end. He's a receiving entity. And we see what those guys mean to the National Football League teams they're with. So for me, Field, again, now you are, my friend, a rookie.
All right. First of all, it's great to be a rookie right now. I finally feel like, it's time. I feel like orientation has officially begun. I thought about him as high as pick number 9 in the Chicago Bears. Here was the dilemma that I faced. I couldn't find a spot between picks 9 through 15 where I felt like the need at tight end superseded other very, very important needs for those teams. A lot of critical offensive line positions that were addressed in those slots 9 through 15. So I love Brock Bowers. I got him as 8 overall on my big board as well, Mel. I felt bad, but I'm going to send him some sort of gift today to make up for my sins because there are very few things in life I don't want to do. One of them is ever disappoint Mel Kiper Jr.
Needs can't distort your board and distort your whole thought process, Field. You said 8th. I have him 7th. Could have him a little higher. He's got the same grade as the 4th and 5th guy. To me, when you look at Brock Bowers dropping this far, and I know you can't project trades, so you might somebody move up and get him if he starts dropping, maybe. But again, when you say locked in as a tight end, that's not a need. How about a guy that can just catch the football? Receiver, tight end, do everything. That's this guy. So I think needs, when you get a guy that's that highly rated and you're getting into the middle of the first round, somebody's got to forget about all it and say, hey, I want my quarterback to have a guy like this to throw to and have a guy like this to scare the daylights out of a defense and have a coordinator have to say, hey, Brock Bowers, how are we going to match up against this guy? That's the type of player he will be in the NFL.
And by the way, just 3 years ago, we were entertaining this conversation specifically with Kyle Pitts. Yeah. It depends on the system. And then how do you use that tight end and wide receiver? We've yet to see that really the right way in Atlanta. Maybe things will change now that they have a coaching change specifically. Now, time for some more picks here, specifically 17 through 19. Jags and Bengals going pass protection from the same state. Powers Johnson, the center out of Oregon, becoming the 5th unanimous All-American in program history this season. The Rams, they get the 2nd corner off the board. Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. Field up next is Pittsburgh at 20. Who do you have them drafting?
Bo Nix from University of Oregon, coming off of an incredible record-setting season. No player has ever completed a higher percent of his passes at the FBS level for a full season than Bo Nix this past year at nearly 78%. You must remind yourself that this is not the Bo Nix that you saw as an 18-year-old true freshman scampering around for the University of Auburn, sometimes to his detriment. This is a much more refined player who's absolutely surgical from the pocket this past season. Just 5 sacks taken. It was a great offensive system, but Bo Nix did about as much as you could possibly do within the confines of this Oregon offense to boost his draft stock.
Keep in mind, just 2 years ago at 20, the Steelers took Kenny Pickett.
Ooh, deja vu all over again.
The jury's still out on Kenny Pickett, his future as the quarterback for the Steelers. What do you think of this fit, Mel, specifically Bo Nix going to Pittsburgh under Mike Tomlin?
I don't like it, don't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense to me, Kev. And I think when you look at where we are right now with the Steelers, they got to get better at quarterback. This is a lateral move, okay? Bo Nix, you think about Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. You got Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson in this division, Field, and all these other great quarterbacks. and you got Kenny Pickett, who's not bad. Kenny Pickett's shown promise, right? So if you're going to go away from, or you want a challenger, that challenger better be right away a challenger this year, not 2 years from now, okay? And he better be significantly better, give you that upgrade so you can jump up in with the Burrows, the Jacksons, the Watsons, and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, all those other great AFC quarterbacks. You can't be fourth in the division at quarterback and expect to do anything in the National Football League. So for me, again, snap out of it, Rook. You had momentum. Now you're kind of in a bit of a funk now. You got to snap out of it. Get back going again, pal.
See, the bylaws, which were written by Mel Kiper Jr., of course, prevent us from making trades in the first round. So I wanted to trade Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers to make everybody happy, including Steelers fans. Instead, I had to give him the best quarterback on the board.
Do it.
All right, fine. I'm taking it up with the editorial staff. Now I'm making enemies in the studio today. Back in the office is about 2,500 yards from where we are right now. So, Bo Nix, I'm sorry. You're going somewhere else besides 20 because Justin Fields, congratulations. You are a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Write this down. In your first ever mock draft, the honeymoon lasted until the C block, and that's when Mel was done with you. All right, let's bring in Jordan here. When you take a look at the idea of translating the skill set with Bo Nix, I mean, he's a legit 225 pounds. How does he translate to Sunday football?
Well, me and Kiper were buttering Field up on this beautiful Valentine's Day, but now we've turned into the grouchy college professors because I'm with Kiper. I disagree with this pick. And I think Mel's spot on as far as look at the quarterbacks in this division field. You have Lamar Jackson. You have Joe Burrow. We'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. But I just think with Bo Nix, I think with the Steelers, they've already done this already. A late breakout senior that has limited arm strength but is very accurate and mobile. I think the Steelers have done this. They did this a couple years ago with Kenny Pickett, who has shown some promise. But I think with Bo Nix, this is a similar situation that they already have been into. But I think they're going to be – I think this is a team that's destined to go into the veteran free agent market with the Justin Fields. They could trade for him or Russell Wilson, depending on what happens with him in Denver. So I disagree with this one, Field. I'm with Kiper on this one all the way.
All right, you guys, listen, I seen you guys turning the tables on me. I see how this one is going here. I'll just say this. I hear you guys on the idea that Bo Nix might represent a nominal upgrade over Kenny Pickett. More than anything, the Steelers have to keep swinging at quarterback. And we can lay out all these veteran options, but the numbers are realistically going to be very slim, and they can only go to one team. If it's not Justin Fields, I'm not sure Russell Wilson is this massive upgrade for what a young Bo Nix can become based off what we've seen from Russ the past 2 seasons.
And by the way, if you talk about experience, 61 starts. No one has started more career games in the NCAA than Bo Nix. Mel, you want to jump in real quick?
Yeah, you can swing. You can keep swinging Field for a single, maybe a double, but you need a home run here if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you're going to try to get better and move up in that division.
Mel, I'm from Boston. I watch the Red Sox. We don't hit home runs anymore, okay? Not like the Baltimore Orioles where you guys club 5 home runs a game, all right? Must be nice.
That's a perfect segue to spring training right around the corner and all the palm trees that we're going to be seeing in 2 states. Up next, the Cowboys were sent home early once again. What does Fields see as their biggest need? Micah Parsons just wants Dallas to go all in.
We're going all in this year, man. That's what I would hope for. I hope that we go out and get the players that we're missing because we didn't do that this year.